It's a very warm welcome to our viewers and audiences across the board. My name is Busi Pepe. Welcome to this platform by Amakhosikazi Media, where we seek to discuss and unpack a topic of interest that we would have covered through a documentary that we would have released to you as the audience through our YouTube channel. We recently launched a documentary that was focusing on the impact of COVID-19 on the economic survival of women and girls, and by extension, the impact on our society and young people. And I asked these three ladies to join us to discuss the issues raised in that documentary. We have with us on the panel Singonyati, who was also featured in the documentary because her foundation, Betterment Foundation, did a research onto issues of Vuzu parties, which are still going on despite the COVID restrictions. Welcome, Simo, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Busi. Welcome to our viewers, and hello, ladies.
Thank you. We also have Nomzamo from Mtonjeni Women's Trust. The Mtonjeni is always championing women's causes, and they're running a campaign currently against sexual harassment. And our documentary also focuses on the issues that come about as a result of a lack of financial strength and stability for women, which open them up to a lot of harassment or sexual issues. So Nomzamo, welcome. We're happy to have you on the forum.
Thank you so much, Busi.
And we also have Nomalanga Ncube. Nomalanga is an expert on economic justice issues. She's worked with the Zimbabwe Coalition on Data and Development, and she's now running her own institution called Working Girl Foundation, where she's imparting women with entrepreneurship skills, seeking to empower women with skills to make their own money and therefore be independent and free to avoid issues where they are forced into sexual exploitations and other such enslaving situations. Noma, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Busi. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much. Before we delve into the issue at hand, I'm going to ask you what you guys thought about the documentary. What were your impressions about what it reflected? Anyone can go.
Okay, for me, the documentary really revealed on how much COVID-19 has really impacted on women economically. And it also showed me on issues to do with behavior change, the need for behavior change among young people, noting that most people were sharing that they attend to these Vuzu parties because of issues to do with entertainment, and then also the plight of the girl child, in as much as she will be entertained during those Vuzu parties, but at the end of the day, she's the one who suffers, being a single mother and everything. So yeah, it was a tough one for me.
Thank you, Nomzamo. Nomalanga, what were your thoughts?
Okay, for me, looking at those women who've turned into prostitution, and it's beginning to look normal to them, because at least they are getting livelihood from it. They are getting to make a living out of it. I found it very saddening, but those are the effects of COVID. That, COVID came in, we were locked down, but there were no solutions on the part of the government of what people can do. And also the government did not have a stimulus package. They locked people up, but then did not provide for them. So that's why people turned into prostitution and other unlawful acts. Thank you, Busi.
Thank you, Noma. Simo, I am inviting you last because we were part of our sources in the documentary. Looking at it afterwards, what were your thoughts?
Because I hadn't seen some of the videos that I got to see there, and probably for me, it was also a reflection point on the fact that this is actually happening. Like the ladies that were there, I really hadn't, I didn't know they were going to be on the documentary. I felt that it's also a display over and above the financial aspect or the financial challenges that we have as women. It's also a way, for me, it was a show or a revelation of moral decay in our society, and how much finances can actually precipitate or make worse the moral decay that we're already struggling with in our society. So it wasn't just about the financial aspect of how we have been degraded as a society, but it was also the moral aspect of it, that because of these financial challenges, then I begin to ask myself, if our economy were better or any better, would we behave any different? So for me, it's raising a lot of red flags in a lot of areas in our society and as humanity in general, in this part of the world at this moment.
Zamo, your institution, M20 Women's Forum, works a lot with women across the board, rural and urban, peri-urban, and you're running a campaign against sexual harassment. How much of a factor are economic issues and women's incapacity to provide for themselves a huge factor in pushing women towards being sexually harassed, or rather getting into risky situations so that they make ends meet?
Okay, what I can say is sexual harassment within the workspace is a real thing. It's really happening out there, and there is need to address such, because when you interact with women, they indicate issues of economic challenges that they face. If I report the boss and then maybe the boss is connected to someone, and the next thing I'm fired, my case doesn't hold much water and stuff. So really there's need for us to address issues of sexual harassment within the workspace, and really the economic situation of the women, it really poses as a threat for them to at times be at the firing end for sexual harassment. That's why they end up tolerating or allowing men to sexually harass them within the workspace because of the issues of livelihood sources that they would be wanting to harness.
I can almost hear somewhere from men that are in the background saying, no, but sometimes women actually ask for these situations. They'll go there and say, I'll give you this if you give me a job. What is the line? How thin is the line between desperation and actually wanting to be in a situation like that because perhaps you don't want to go to school or you don't want to work hard enough, so you'd rather put yourself in a situation where promotion will come through those means?
For me, I wouldn't really say the issues of a thin line and stuff. I think, as I had indicated earlier on, I doubt women really go out and ask to be sexually harassed. If you have an agreement with someone to have maybe, let's say, sex with them for something, I think you would have done an exchange. And then the harassment is something else. There's the difference between an agreement and harassment. Harassment is something that you don't want. I wouldn't want to have sex with anyone to get a promotion. But if that man comes to me and says, if you want a promotion, if that man wants and has this interaction with me, and then maybe I'm the one who initiated the interaction, there's an issue of having an agreement and harassment. And when we look at harassment is also at different levels. There is an issue of power dynamics that come into play. If he's using his power within the organization to coerce me to sleep with him, definitely that's sexual harassment for me.
Power issues. No, we've spoken about this before on another platform. What are your thoughts on the power play that happens when women do not have the financial muscle to say no to someone that can determine whether they keep a job or not, or whether they get a job or not? And at the end of the day, with Corona and COVID, the lockdown, a lot of people didn't have a choice about where they get their food, where they get their money. And if the offer is that you give me something for something and it's sextortion, what are your thoughts around those issues?
I find actually the whole issue and the fact that we're even talking about it very sad, because it's a reality. These are things that we are living with, and these are things that are there, and these are things that are not new, and these are things that have been happening even before COVID. And my thoughts are, it's got to, there's a need for a mindset shift. And like I always say, that there's the harassed and then there's the harasser. And normally with the harasser, sometimes there's issues that cause these people to harass. One, it would be the fact that they are used to it. They've done it before and they've gotten away with it. And it's now become normal. There are some institutions where it's known that if you want a promotion, you have to give something to the boss. And even the girls who are subordinates to that boss will be knowing that in order for you to get this, you should do something or you shouldn't, but they don't speak out. So in order for this to be fixed, there needs to be people who speak out, who have actually experienced this and who call these people to book and to call them out. And then the ones who are harassing, they need to change their mind. You see, this is where the challenge is, where they feel a woman is commodity, that you can actually buy her in order for you. It's abuse of power and it's abuse of authority. And at the same time, there are women who ask for it because they know that it's a man's weakness. I know of cases where women will offer, they will offer that in order for me to get this, okay, I can give you, or they will send indicators or suggestions that they have a reward for you if you give them something, which I feel is uncalled for. Because the minute you compromise in that manner, you are compromising every other female that comes after you. Once that man feels it's okay for them to do that, they'll continue doing it. So there's a need for a mindset shift on the part of the male. And then there's need of education and encouragement on the part of the female to speak out.
Noma, I know that we seem like we're digressing a bit because we're now talking about sexual harassment, and the documentary is much about house parties and shabins being a source of income for women that were locked up under COVID. But coming back to that, in light of the sense that a lot of these women were making good enough income selling vegetables. One of the women in the documentary talked about selling amabele. And she says as soon as government shut down, she didn't have a plan. She didn't know what to do. She was stuck at home. And the only other option she thought of was to sell alcohol and to invite the patrons to sleep with her for money. Would you see that as something she could have been able to avoid if there had been a proper plan and maybe stages towards the lockdown?
Okay, thank you very much, Busi. What I would say is that the woman was faced with a decision. She had to make a decision. She had a problem that she could no longer provide for herself and her family. And then she, maybe because of the moral decay in society, she then made a poor decision. Although it was a poor decision morally and legally, because running a shipping and prostitutions are not legal in this country, it made her money. I like one of the women who says she was saying that she's actually happy for lockdown because it brought her more customers. I see that she actually has a business mind, because she even went and started renting a friend's place so that she could service her customers there. So the business mind is there. So probably what is lacking with her maybe is things of the spirit. You know, I always say, seek ye first the kingdom. She does not have spiritual strength. So for her, because she's got the business sense, she was able to survive, but using things that are spiritually incorrect. But in business, because she was following proper business principles of, you look at the problem in society and then you try to solve it, then you make money out of that and get more and more customers and grow, and then even recruit others so that you make more money. So principles, unfortunately, they are not a respecter of morals. If you follow proper business principles, you will succeed. But she's succeeding in a wrong way, because at the end of the day, she will suffer the consequences of arrest and other things. Thank you.
I like it when you say principles will not follow the laws of morals or morality. And my question is, did she have a choice though, given that it is locked down, and here she is stuck maybe with children, and she has nowhere to go out and sell her wares? Was she given an opportunity to think beyond the moral choices that you're mentioning?
What I would say is that choices are always there, but she probably weighed a lot of choices and then decided to go into that field. There are other people probably in a similar situation who were informal traders but unable to trade, who then decided to go and maybe form a WhatsApp group and start delivering groceries and stuff. But she made a decision. Choices are always there, but then it's up to you to make a certain choice and then live with it within the limits of your available resources.
What are your thoughts on that, the availability of choices and the strength with which you're given, or the support and enabling environment for you to make those positive choices? Did those women and teenagers in the documentary, were they offered the environment to make positive or wise decisions in?
Okay, for me, I will concur with Noma. She had a choice. I can say from what I've seen during the lockdown, you would see other women having vending stalls outside their yards selling. So I believe she had a choice. Young people also had a choice of not attending to those vuzu parties and staying at home, being at home, and finding other means to entertain themselves other than attending to vuzu parties. So for me, they had choices.
What role do we have to play as women, as institutions, in helping other women and young people make those informed choices or make better choices? Your institution seeks to help young men actually be better men, make better decisions. What are your strategies?
I just wanted to comment on what Nomzamo and Nomalanga were saying, and I want to concur that she had a choice. We always have choices, but at the same time, sometimes our choices are very limited and we are caught in a very tight corner. And with that, I think it's then organizations like the organizations that we run that must actually be able to what can I say, to be the intervening forces between those people with very limited choices and probably the government, and people who have a hand, who can give a hand in planning projects. But now the challenge is we're talking of a situation where it's locked down. When it comes to issues of making choices in very tight corners or tight situations, what organizations can do, they can offer the educational aspect, like what I said previously, that with things and issues like this, it's about changing someone's mind. Because somebody, if they think a certain way, they'll make choices that they feel are the right choices at that particular time. So it's like what Noma said, that it would probably be an issue of spirituality. It's an inside-out job. As much as organizations can be there under normal circumstances to provide interventions to give these people aid, or even to provide them with platforms for income generating projects. In the instances where it's lockdown and these organizations are not readily available, what choice does one make if they find themselves in a tight corner? So what the organizations can then do over and above being an intervener in aid and in income generating projects, they need to educate people's minds and provide them with maybe educate them on the consequences of their decisions. Because even if you make this decision during lockdown and you're in a tight corner, you run the risk of catching sexually transmitted infections, HIV, you run the risk of drug abuse and other ailments that are actually hazardous to your health and to your well-being, more than you making that bad decision at that particular time when you're in a tight corner. So we must be able to provide programs that change the way a man thinks and the way a human being thinks.
Malanga, in your programs with Working Girl Foundation, what skills were you training or giving women on continuing with business during COVID? I'm sure a lot of them were hit unawares. What were the strategies against folding and finding themselves without an income and then being forced into such situations?
Okay, thank you very much, Busi. What I'm teaching the women now post-COVID is that just assume that maybe there will be another lockdown. What are you going to do so that you don't find yourself in that similar situation? So I now teach them to actually now start working online, to start taking their businesses online somehow. I tell them, have your Facebook page, have your Instagram page. Even today I was teaching some women earlier and I was giving them an example of my Titi or Madam Boss, that those women actually their work is online. Even if they are locked down, they can still work. So it's the same with these women. I was just telling them that, even if you are a vendor selling tomatoes, find a way to start even blogging about agriculture, blogging about the plight of vendors, and have lots of followers so that the next time we are locked down, you are able to survive. And also take your business online. Start with a WhatsApp group where you are selling on a WhatsApp group, and then grow to sell on Facebook pages, and then grow to even have a website. But just make sure that your business now goes online. Get into that whole Amazon way of doing business, because you can see Jeff Bezos during lockdown, his wealth increased by over 70% because his business was online and it was COVID friendly. Thank you.
Nomzamo Nomalanga is talking to women already in business. What is the message for women that need to open business or find other sources of income? Because if anything, COVID has taught us that one line of income is dangerous because it can be taken away at any time. What advice have you been giving women out there about getting a skill, learning business methods, learning financial literacy, and so forth?
Okay, thank you very much, Busi. For us as an organization, we have been engaging and sensitizing women on the need to have viable businesses. When we speak of viable businesses, we mean that you shouldn't have one source of income. You're supposed to have many streams of income. As Nomalanga had highlighted, women need to take their businesses also to online platforms. Even if you're selling tomatoes, you can sell your tomatoes, you can be selling your broilers and your mabeles, right? They just go online, have various ways of reaching out to people. And also the issue of one source of income. It was quite sad that during the lockdown, some people lost their jobs and some had salary cuts, and yet in terms of the needs at home, there was no cutting. You needed the water, you needed electricity, and you needed food. And now with the fact that it's a lockdown, it was in more abundance. You needed it more because the whole family was at home. So we really encourage the women that having one source of income is actually a strategy to invite poverty. Let's try and have many sources of income. If you're into business, you know, let's not put all our eggs in one basket. Let us have various businesses that we can that can assist us to have sort of like an income towards the end of the month every time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And wrapping up, Smo, what would be your message to the ladies out there, to young people who are still on a lockdown? By the way, it hasn't been officially lifted, but the house parties are going on. The meetups are happening. Slowly, people are feeling comfortable and hosting weddings and things like that. What are the risks involved? And to women that feel like they have no other way of making money but taking the risk like this, what would be your message?
I think like we've already said, thank you, Busi. I seem to be the only one who doesn't say thank you, Busi. So thank you, Busi.
You're welcome.
The fellow guests have already said that we always have choices. I believe we can make better choices when it comes to income generating projects, and there's no need to use our bodies. Also, I feel sometimes it's an issue of idleness and laziness, particularly in the area of young people, young women. You find these things like selling tomatoes or small things for $1 that will give you money. They look down upon them, or they feel that if they do those kind of businesses, those are for, I don't know how they view this type of businesses, but anything that is an income generating project and that is a line of giving you an income is something that's worth doing, because then you don't need to sell your body, you don't need to indulge in these activities that compromise your health, that compromise your belief system, and that compromise who you are as a person. So what I can say is we always have choices, and there's always something to do out there. And the possibilities of excuses, there are so many excuses that we can give, but you can only give an excuses when you have tried and failed. And you don't need anything big or a big capital or big income to start a small project to give you money. You start where you are with what you have. Those resources that are within your reach, that's what you start with. I think a lot of people have this belief system that you need this humongous amount of money to actually start an income generating project that can feed you or feed your children. But you don't. You start where you are with the little money you have, the resources you have, and with those people that are around you, and you can get something going. And you follow your passion. You have to know what you like or what you naturally do without being paid for it. If you go along that route, you are likely to find something that you enjoy doing and that will give you an income in the process.
Very much. Sengcono Malanga, what would be your parting words and your advice to women facing a lot of challenges with survival during COVID?
Okay, I would say to the women, what you should do is that the first thing is that really, if agreeing with Smo there, that you must have a purpose. Use your talents, to do things that will bring you a livelihood, not even a small livelihood, but things that can actually make you wealthy. I advise them also to have a vision. They can do even a vision board or even a vision letter, just seeing themselves having improved in their businesses and their lives in its entirety. And also, I would say that, success, business success and everything, it must be in a holistic manner or a wholesome manner. If you are speaking from the biblical world, wholesome, be whole. So you must look at all areas of your life, look at the spiritual side, that, make sure you become spiritually strong and know what you believe in, and do things that would please your creator, and things that will bring life, that will actually bring life to yourself as well as your family. and not to start businesses that would actually maybe cause you to probably depart from this earth earlier than what you imagined. And also looking at other things like, I would say being wholesome means you also have to take care of your health. Yeah, also your mind, changing your mindset comes from actually reading. So I would advise the women to actually start reading and change their mindsets and actually know how do you succeed in that particular business, and also even understand even money, and even have better relationships with people around you, create good networks. And then at the same time, I think also for us as development organizations, we have got work to do on empowering women. And also maybe, I know in Zimbabwe, we are obsessed with governance, governance, governance. But maybe let us start also speaking governance with livelihoods, so that, the people that we encounter, we don't just tell them about how to challenge the government, but also teach them on how to become successful and become empowered economically, so that even their
And
voices can be
sustainable.
heard. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that they don't end up doing things that they don't want to do. The truth is that if you don't have money, you live in fear and end up being controlled by those that have money and doing things that are even against your own morals, because money, in the Bible, it says that it answers all things. If you don't have money, really, you cannot do anything else. You are a slave to that person who's taking care of you. So I would say to the women, for them to be able to emancipate themselves from slavery, of economic slavery, they have to start their own sustainable businesses. But also us in the development world also start to work with empowering them, because it's not everyone who can find their purpose and vision and what on their own. We also have work to do on livelihoods.
Thank you,
Thank
Noma.
you, Vusi.
Nomzamo, what would be your parting words?
For me, I would like to encourage you, especially the young girls out there, that there are so many ways to enjoy your youth. Indulging in unsafe sex is risky behavior. There is need to change our to the success is not an overnight thing, but hard work pays. If you work really hard, you see the fruits of your work. But if we think success can come overnight, we are really fooling ourselves as women. At the end of the day, we are treated as commodities. At the end of the day, we are not able to achieve even our own dreams. So I'd like to encourage young women especially that let us work hard, let us have a change in behavior, let us find other means of enjoying our youth other than indulging in unsafe sex, and let's asikholiseni ubutsha bethu, but in a better way other than in being part of the vuzu parties. Let us not be part of the statistics for the STIs. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of you ladies. It's been very eye-opening. Thank you for unpacking the topic and for letting us see beyond what we see with our eyes, but the deeper problems that are rooted in the challenges that our communities are facing. Singo Nomzamo Nomalanga, thank you so much. And I hope this is not the last time that we'll have you on the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
having us.
You're almost welcome.